I had somebody talking to me recently, and they were curious on how do they know that Jesus is talking to them, and when Jesus is asking them something, how do they say yes? Well, if something keeps coming back over and over and over in your life, that's the Holy Spirit talking to you, and that's the Holy Spirit telling you that you should do something or that you're missing something. Give you an example. When I was up at the Great Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion, I was walking around like we always do with the shirt on that says, tap my shoulder if I can pray for you. And I was telling my wife as we walk into the convention center, I said, I am just overly anxious about something. Um, and, as soon as I walk through and I get inside the convention center, the anxiousness went away. So I know whatever I was supposed to do, I passed up, I missed. I didn't know what it was. There was 1,000 people there. Sometimes you'll see it'll be obvious when it's something Jesus wants you to do, and sometimes it's not so obvious. Um, I may not have been at the right moment looking in the right direction to figure out what I was supposed to do. But there are some times that where it really slaps you upside the face. And another instance, I walked into Sam's one day, and uh, I just walk over, and there's these big speakers sitting there that's remote speakers, and they got microphones and everything, and I'm just standing there. My wife comes up and looks at me, and she's like, "You want one of those speakers?" I said, "Nope." I said, "But I feel like I need to get one." And then she looks at the box, dead at the box, and what she sees is says, "Well, it pairs in two, so you might as well get two." I'm like, "Okay." So I got two. Now, are those speakers going to come in handy? Sure, it's going to come in handy when we do outdoor church services. Um, but it may not be obvious now on what those speakers are for, but I know that Jesus will tell us in the future what those speakers were meant for. I thought we were going to use them up at the Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion, and I thought that's what I was preparing for. Um, but Jesus had other plans when he let us go inside the Hard Rock, and we were able to use their sound system. But I was still convicted to get those for some reason or another. Now, I know these are objects, but it's also happened with people that you know. One of the big things that I can remember is a couple years ago we went up to the Jeep Invasion with Christian Jeep Association, and we were usually put on an end cap, and we were so we could be available for a lot of people to pray with them. But we were put in the middle of the row, and we started talking. We didn't know why we were in the middle row. We didn't know what it's, and no vendors were setting up yet. We were like the first one on the row. It was blatantly obvious when everybody started setting up that we were put in the middle of that row for a reason, because the people to the left of us had just lost a child, and they the month before the Jeep Invasion, and they needed somebody to talk to. The people to the right of us had a loved one that just passed away. They had another loved one that was in the hospital, and they had a lot of things going on. So it was blatantly obvious that we were there to love on the people that were beside us, love on our neighbors, just like Jesus told us was the second most important commandment. So, and how do you answer Jesus? By doing what he says to do. Uh, so, I mean, don't think you, it's not a religion. It's not that we follow. It's not, you know, uh, a certain set of beliefs. We follow Jesus, and we preach Jesus, and we tell people about Jesus. When you tell people about Jesus, that's not a religion. That's telling them about the good Lord. You tell them how he loves them and how you're supposed to love on them. So take the time to, when you have those feelings, to look around. Uh, I've missed them. and I've had them right there in front of my face plenty of times. So I know that it can be missed, but don't when you have that feeling, look around, see what you're missing. And ever since the Jeep invasion, I have actually every time I've had that feeling, I've stopped dead in my tracks and started looking around just to see what I'm missing. That way, I'm not missing out. But tell Jesus yes. Do what He asks you to do. Y'all have a blessed day.